Hey everyone! Recently we talked about Lieutenant Titus, and I promised to take a look at his crewmates. So in this video we feature two well-known Ultramarines, two heroes from Space Marine 2, Gadriel and Chairon. Both figures in their December 2024 basic editions, which will greatly help us to compare them and highlight the differences between the Collector's Edition in terms of detailing, painting, sculpting, and of course the kit. Although the kit itself is fairly obvious. And of course we'll answer the question, do the Collector's Edition and the basic version of the main characters fit together? Once again, these are Ultramarines, again Primaris Mark X, so I won't waste your time. Both have purity seals on their legs. Chairon has an iron halo on his left knee for exceptional combat merit in a victorious battle, which is probably where he got his prosthetic arm from. Gadriel holds the rank of Sergeant, with the corresponding Ultramarine emblem and the red skull on his right knee. He has a Pterox on his belt. Each stripe is ending with the golden chapter symbol. Technically you can say that he wears horseshoes for good luck. Chairon has an amulet on his belt with a skull emblem and some text. Gadriel has the same belt-like Pterox structure on his back, while Chairon has a different amulet with a skull. Both guides have pockets, of which the Sergeant has 3 more in front. And of course they both have removable back shin plates for replacement with stabilization ones. The chest armor and Aquila are fortunately identical, but mirrored. Although Gadriel does sport a heraldic blue shield with a skull. Chairon's left arm is wrapped with a long ribbon of purity seal, similar to what you'd previously seen on a Blade Guard captain. The shoulder parts are very different, we'll look at them now, but before the backs and backpacks are identical. Their right arms are completely different, as Chairon has lost his own and uses a prosthetic. And as for the shoulder pads, I'm sick of all the confusion over the number, color and the shape of the design across different legions. As far as I understand, these guys are labeled as representing the 6th squad of the 2nd company of the Ultramarines. Chairon has a badge with an emblem. It is also a company award for achievement in the battle. For some reason he also attached the chain to his shoulder pad, which by the way holds one more award, a bullet for accuracy. While Gadriel has a beautiful red cord with the Imperium crest. The left shoulder pads are more modest, featuring just an emblem and rank. Although the extended reach at the top and the extended lower part with the skull on Gadriel's look cooler than the yet another purity seal on Chairon's shoulder pad. The guys' backpacks have identical emblems, but the Sergeant has an additional purity seal. I haven't played the game personally, and I haven't been particularly interested in the artwork on the YouTube videos, but I think the faces of both characters are very well done, and better than Titus. The condition of lips, nose, eyes, ears and hair are expected, but the scars and those cables on the right side of the face really add the life and decorate the figure. It's understandable that this is the game style, but for sculpt such details are very useful, even with a simple approach to face sculpting. Always create an effect of intricate detailing, making the face look great. The same thing with Chairon. In his case I want to point out the beard, which looks nice, and the fact that the bald head has an uneven shape, and it's not just a ball. The additional jump packs are identical to those you can find on any Joytoy jump pack Primaris. The kits are also correspond to standard 2nd generation Primaris, with the only difference being that Chairon has a prosthetic hand for his right arm, while Gadriel has a bolter with a scope and a different magazine. This is an important point, as I mentioned in Titus' review. The Collector's Edition figures have significantly modified accessories, and so in my hands in the frame it's hard to tell that the sword or pistol are any different, but they are noticeably different in size and detailing. Otherwise, all the hero's weapons, including all these holster types, were already presented by Joytoy Space Marines over 2 years ago. The guys have matching helmets, a Sergeant's red one and a standard one for Space Marine 2 line. It's interesting that Chairon's helmet doesn't have those 2 connectors on the back painted metal. There are spots for light-up function inside, but no LEDs. Gadriel has green lenses, so it was really interesting to see how his backlighting worked. I took the light from Titus and installed it in his helmet, and guess what? It turns out that the backlighting from the inside should be the same color as the lenses, but in this case, it turned out red. It also shines right through his forehead, so I guess the same would have happened with the green. I don't know why that happened, but keep that in mind. Articulation is as usual. If you're interested, you can check out my review of Titus. There is more about it there. But here I want to draw attention to the fact that Joytoy's prosthetic arms are slightly different from the standard ones, as if they have harder plastic, due to which all 3 of his joints and hinges feel a little loose. What can be said about this man, Titus' comrades? The game, as it did the first time, offered him 2 teammates, For further information you need to refer the game and additional materials, as they parted ways with the lieutenant at the end of the story. And his new team was already assembled from 3 veterans. What happened to these heroes is unclear, but at least they didn't die during the game's events. There is not much to say about the display. It's exactly the same as Titus. The same issues with unusual proportions, the same strengths in terms of stability and advanced shoulders on ball joints. Dynamics and statics are fine. The guys also look great in helmets. The guys look great in helmets and without helmets. I filmed this review 2 weeks before release, but I still haven't decided how best to display them, with or without. The jump pack variants are completely uninteresting to me, simple backpacks suit them better, in my opinion. Plus they have the emblems. A thing that could be adjusted at the weapon. Gadriel's rifle is generally fine for me, but knowing that the base weapon of these figures is a bit limited, I'd at least replace it with Chairon's, and that's possible with the Collector's Edition Titus, so I simply gave him a large bolter from the Collector's Edition, leaving my Titus with a pistol and a sword. The differences aren't immediately obvious, but I feel more comfortable with it. And speaking of differences, there won't be usual comparisons in this video. Instead, I suggest looking at one photo to clarify the differences between the Collector's Edition and the Basic Edition. Aside from some scuffs on the edges, bloodstains, and the slightly darker armor on the Collector's Edition, which, believe me, isn't noticeable in the natural light, there's differences in the sculpting of the belly armor. Somebody even wrote to me in the comments that either the old or new version is slightly taller because of this. In reality, there's no difference in height. They are all giants one after another. However, the Collector's Edition figures do have a longer lower armor plate, which simply covers the stomach part more than the short one and the first edition figures. In real life, in posing or in display, this is also something no one will notice. Therefore, I can confidently say that you can put figures from different editions together on a shelf, and they will look decent together. Another question is how well they combine with all the basic Ultramarines from Joytoy. Yes, it is terrible, and to be honest, I don't know how massive the collection should be, so that the differences in height in these giant legs became unnoticeable. My opinion about the line of Space Marine 2 figures is voiced in a more detail in Titus' review, so if you need more conclusions I recommend you checking it out. Here I want to say one more thing about the figures of Gadriel and Chairon. Regardless of the edition, in most cases they come as an addition to the figure of Titus. I'm almost sure that the demand on them is not great and it's not surprising, because these are just primaries. But still, especially at the moment when I was filming these shots that are currently in front of you, I realized that although the figures have less charisma, they look very cool for scenes in long-range combat, thanks to the shoulder parts. So in isolation from the team, alone, like an abstract sergeant and an intercessor, they look no worse than other Joytoy primaries. But fully teamed, they truly shine and create a stunning visual experience. That concludes the review. I hope it was helpful. I'd also appreciate your likes, comments and subscriptions. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.